Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fascinating episode of PNSQ Chronicles. I am super excited to have one of our invited speakers, special guest speakers, join us today, Miss Kristine O'Connor. Kristine, welcome.
Hi, thanks. Great to be here.
So, you are one of our invited speakers. How did you get that opportunity, if I may ask?
So last year, I submitted a paper around a topic called quality intelligence. I wrote my paper, went through the whole peer review process, and then presented at the last conference. And I was voted one of the top three presenters of the conference. And then as a result of that, I'm invited back this year.
Excellent. Yeah, and yes, that is true. As a matter of fact, I've been in the same position, so I have a couple of those Lucite plaques myself, and
Mhm.
that was honestly how I started getting involved more actively with PNSQC was I won one of those speaker qualifications and I got to be an invited speaker and it started a cycle and I got to be involved with
Yeah.
doing that. So I totally appreciate that. And it's a really cool opportunity to do that. So let's get to the topic of what you're covering. So your title is Signal Before the Storm, How Quality Intelligence Can Stop Harm Before It Becomes Irreversible. Now that's some drama. Care to elaborate?
Very much a lot of drama. And, as I mentioned, I presented a paper last year on quality intelligence, which is really about understanding your customer, whoever your customer is, so that you can really deeply understand the different signals that you can receive on how things are going, the health of your system, the health of the customer experience using your software. And after the conference, you're right, that award is sitting on my shelf over to my left. It's quite a source of pride. But soon after the conference, I was on the phone with my elderly aunt, and she was sharing with me a recent experience where she's in her mid 80s. She gave out some personal information to some hackers who ended up logging into her credit card accounts, her banking accounts, fill in the blank, tens of thousands of dollars was stolen. And she was so full of shame. It broke my heart listening to her share her tale of what happened. But as she was sharing her story, it just really struck me. Why didn't the bank realize that somebody else was logged into her account before they transferred money out? Why didn't the credit card company realize my aunt could never change and reset her password in under 5 minutes? There were a lot of indicators that were there that were just missed, that could have prevented the fraud and, more importantly, prevented the overall stealing of that money and cause of that shame.
So you're describing situations. We might think about this from the perspective of we're looking for faster navigation. We want to be able to, like you said, sudden confidence changes, being able to change a password really rapidly when they probably wouldn't be able to do so normally. Wouldn't a system somehow be able to flag that, or would we want them to be able to flag that? Why do you think it is that so many systems struggle with this? We have these CAPTCHA tools that seem to be absolutely impossible to jump through hoops, and yet the next day we hear, oh, people are able to completely social engineer their way around every one of these things. Why do we still struggle to connect those dots?
I think it comes down to a few things. I believe when we really understand who our customers are, when we understand the personas of the different people that use our system, in my aunt's case, if we have a general understanding that we have customers that are in their mid 80s, they struggle with using technology and they really need easy to read buttons and navigation options through the tool and software. When you understand that they probably have to repeat presses on buttons before they can navigate to the next screen and next action, that's a normal part of their journey in your software. You can measure all of that in production. You can have built-in telemetry that tells you when and how many times somebody clicked on a button and what that rate is. And if that changes, from one day to the next in a significant and measurable way, you have data that can cause you to take some kind of action. And in my aunt's case, I was puzzled. Why didn't something happen before my aunt had to call in and report the fraud?
I'm going to go a little bit of a different tack here. The cool thing is that a lot of the questions I had, you've already hit on. So
Oh,
well,
that's cool.
I'll just be repeating. So let's go a little left field, maybe, or maybe not. Do you think the software industry maybe has underestimated emotional, societal, the absolute stress and frustration, the anger, and maybe even just the despondency, if you will, of the social consequences of quality failing? We think of defects in technical terms. We don't really think of it in regards to human outcomes, do we?
Yeah. I don't want to give too much away because much of this is in my talk, sir. Um, but I mentioned already, my aunt, she really was full of shame. She didn't want to tell me what happened. She was beating herself up, not just in that conversation, but for months afterwards. There have been many long-term impacts because of what happened, not just to her psychologically, dealing with depression, some other things, but also financially, the financial impact. Someone who's 86, they don't have earning potential. That's long gone. Yes, the impacts here are so great. And that's why after I hung the phone up with her and I was thinking about what she went through, her experience, I put myself in her shoes. There were just so many opportunities that were missed. And the what if, that question, what if they did this? What if they did that? That series of curiosity just got kicked off in me.
Well, fantastic. So it sounds to me again, I will not probe any further because of course our main goal here and of course our call to action is we want those of you who are listening to this, we hope we have piqued your interest and we hope that you will want to come and listen to this talk in person and come out to PNSQC in Portland, Oregon and listen to us live covering these topics in real time. And then that way, if you want to pick Kristine's brain in regards to her talk, you can do it in real time with her after she delivers it. Of course, not everybody can go, but if they are curious about this topic, how can they potentially pick your brain on this?
You can get in touch with me two different ways. Search for me on LinkedIn, Kristine O'Connor, or you can drop me an email, kristine.o'connor@agilerising.com.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for joining us, Kristine. I really
Thank
appreciate you taking
you.
the time. And for everybody else, we hope that you will join us for Quality in the Age of Autonomy this October in Portland, Oregon. Outside of that, thank you so much for listening to yet another episode of PNSQ Chronicles. And we will come back to you real soon. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for having me.